My child, be still and listen closely, for what I am revealing is not something easily perceived by the natural eye, nor is it what you once called just enough in your daily life. What I am preparing for you carries the breath of life within it. It has its own rhythm, its own depth beyond your current understanding, and a clear purpose woven into the journey I inscribed upon your soul long before you came to know yourself. I am not merely placing tangible things before you. I am repositioning you within a higher order, where nothing remains scattered, but everything aligns within my eternal intent. There were moments when you wondered why you had to endure days that seemed to drain all your strength, why certain seasons stretched you to what felt like your very limit. But remember what is written, "The righteous shall live by faith," Romans 1:17. I allowed those seasons not to break you, but to expand your inner capacity. Every trial was not a punishment, but a tool in my hand used to widen your soul, so that when the appointed time arrives, you will not only receive what I give, but also sustain and distribute it, even in the places where you thought you were losing. I was building. Not a single tear of yours has fallen into emptiness. For it is written, "You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle," Psalm 56:8. I have gathered every moment, leaving nothing behind, and I have used all of it to form a firm foundation within you. You may not have seen the results immediately, but I have seen every step of your growth, every time you chose to believe without understanding. Every moment you remained faithful when no one was watching. These have become the evidence that you are ready. Understand this clearly. My child, what is coming is not by chance, nor is it merely a reward for effort. It is the unfolding of a covenant I have already established. When I speak, all things must align accordingly. As it is written, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut. Revelation 3:8. No force can hinder the flow I have ordained. No barrier can restrain what I have released. You do not need to chase after it. It is being sent to you. I am not only giving you what you need, I am placing you where you belong. You once thought your calling was something distant, something far ahead. But I tell you this, what I am sending now will become the very means through which you step into the life you were created to live. I am not merely adding to your life, I am opening it. I am not simply providing, I am guiding. I am not just giving, I am aligning you into the precise trajectory of my will. Remember the story of Joseph, who was sold, forgotten in a prison, yet ultimately lifted to govern an entire land. When the appointed time came, in a single day, his position changed completely. For it is written, the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Genesis 39-23. Do you see? What determines the outcome is not circumstance, but my presence. The hidden years were not delay, they were preparation. In the same way, you have passed through fire without being consumed, and through waters without being overwhelmed, because I was there, quietly preserving you. And now, I am bringing you out from hidden places not to display you, but to position you. A new realm is opening, where resources will no longer come in drops, but flow like a river. Yet remember this, the flow will not stop with you. It will move through you to reach others, to expand influence, and to fulfill what I have already ordained. Do not let your heart be unsettled by what you see or by what has yet to appear. Stand firm in the assurance that what I am doing is not a reaction to your needs, but the fulfillment of a plan I established from the very beginning. As it is written, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29-11. You are not stepping into something random. You are stepping into what has already been ordained. Therefore, my child, keep your heart tender, Do not let the weight of the past slow your steps, and do not allow fear to cloud your vision. What I am placing into your hands is not merely a blessing, it is a sacred responsibility. It carries weight, purpose, and influence far beyond yourself. As you walk forward, each step you take will bear my imprint, and those you encounter will sense it, even if they cannot name it. I do not speak this as mere encouragement, but as a declaration. The flow has already been set in motion. It is moving at the pace I have determined, not at the pace you measure. And when it reaches you, you will realize that nothing you have gone through was in vain. Every moment has converged into this appointed time, positioning you in the right place, at the right moment, for the right purpose. Rest in me, for you do not need to strive to obtain what I have already ordained to give. You only need to remain in position, stay faithful, and walk according to my leading. Blessing does not come to make you comfortable, it comes to make you complete. And when you understand this, you will no longer be merely a recipient, but you will become a living flow of my presence in the world. My child, if your heart begins to tremble as though touched by an unseen wind, do not dismiss it as coincidence or fleeting emotion. It is the sign of a real movement where heaven and earth are intersecting within your very life. I have initiated something you could never create on your own, and you now stand at the intersection of two seasons, one that has fulfilled its purpose, and another that has just been opened, according to my appointed time. As it is written, to everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. And now, you are stepping into your moment not too early, not too late, but precisely in rhythm with my design. You did not arrive here by your own strength, nor because you managed to hold on to something by yourself. I called you, and it is my call that has brought you into this place. You do not need to reach for what I have prepared, for it is already moving toward you as part of the covenant. As it is written, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalm 23:6. You are not chasing blessing. Blessing is following you, because you are walking in my ways. What is unfolding is not accidental. It is intentional alignment, where everything is being adjusted to bring you into harmony with a purpose greater than yourself. I know the days behind you have not been easy. There were moments when everything pressed in on you so intensely that you questioned how much more you could endure. There were nights when unspoken questions lingered in your heart, and a weariness you could not even fully express weighed upon you. But understand this, not a single moment of that journey has been meaningless. As it is written, we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans 5:3. Fear. I did not allow you to pass through those things to weaken you. I allowed them to deepen you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for what is greater. Remember the story of David when he was still an unknown shepherd. No one saw him except the open fields. No one honored him in the days he faced lions and bears. Yet it was in that hidden place that I trained him. And when the appointed time came, he was no longer a fragile boy, but a man who could stand before Goliath without fear, because he knew who stood behind him. As it is written, the Lord is my strength and my shield. Psalm 28:7. So it is with you. What you have endured in the dark was never neglect, but preparation. There were moments when you thought your path was blocked, but in truth, I was redirecting you. There were times you felt pressed into a corner, yet it was precisely there that I opened a door only someone refined as you could recognize. You believed you were being delayed, but I tell you this, you have never been behind. As it is written, as for God, his way is perfect. Psalm 18:30. Every step you have taken has been held within my precision and only what no longer aligns has been left behind. Look back, and you will see the connections that left your life were not loss, but release. The opportunities that did not materialize were not failure, but protection. The dry seasons were not abandonment, but realignment, so that you would not become dependent on what is temporary. As it is written, every branch that bears fruit he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. John 15:2. I do not remove to harm you, but to prepare you to produce what is greater. You once thought you were becoming weaker, but in truth, you were growing stronger in the deepest places within you. Every time you rose when you had no strength left, every time you chose to believe while your mind was still filled with questions, you stepped higher than you realized. I do not measure you by isolated failures. I see you through the process I am shaping. And that process has now shifted into a new phase, a realm where conflict no longer disorients you, but signals that you are approaching breakthrough. So, my child, do not look at your past through the lens of regret. See it through the light of understanding I am now giving you. When that light shines upon it, you will recognize that nothing was wasted. Every wound carried a lesson. Every tear contributed to your formation. Every shaking had a purpose in refining you. As it is written, all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. This is no longer a distant promise. It is becoming reality within your own story. Now you stand at a new threshold, where what was no longer defines you, and what is ahead is beginning to unfold. I have set the time, and I declare that the time has come. You do not need to strive to enter, only to be willing. Keep your heart still, for in that stillness you will discern more clearly the steps I have prepared for you. And as you move forward, you will discover that everything has already been arranged, nothing lacking, nothing excessive, but perfectly fitted to you, as part of a plan written from the very beginning. My child, engrave this deeply within your heart. Nothing you have walked through was ever meant to extinguish the light within you, but to establish your true position within my design. If a seed remains on the surface, it stays only as unrealized potential, yet when it is placed into the darkness of the soil, what seems like burial becomes the birthplace of life. In the same way, the days you felt covered, pressed down, and hidden from every eye were the very place where I was activating something new within you. As it is written, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it produces much grain. John 12:24. You have passed through that process, not to lose yourself, but to bring forth something greater than yourself. And within the flow of those days, I saw you standing against opposing winds without retreating. Even when you no longer understood where you were going, you thought you were being emptied, but I saw you being refined. Lack taught you vigilance. Friction taught you discernment. Long stretches of silence trained the ears of your heart to recognize my voice more clearly than any noise around you. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. It was in that stillness that I rewrote the way you listen, so that from this point forward, you would no longer be led by what is external, but by the inner call that comes from me. There were nights when you believed you were alone, yet heaven had never once stepped away from your path. When you felt lost, I did not allow you to go astray. I was drawing you out of familiar patterns to lead you into a deeper way, where my light alone could guide you. As it is written, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23:4. You were not being abandoned, you were being separated from what no longer aligned. You were not being cast out, you were being repositioned into a place where you could carry what I am about to entrust to you. Remember Elijah, when he fled into the wilderness, believing he had failed and been forsaken. He sought me in the great wind, in the earthquake, and in the fire. Yet I was not in them. I came in a still, small voice, subtle enough that only a soul trained through silence could recognize it. 1 Kings 19. Do you see? I do not always reveal myself in what is loud. Often I choose quietness to teach you to perceive me at a deeper level. And you, in those silent days, learned what no one could have taught you through words. There were moments when you thought you were about to break, yet you remained standing not because of your own strength, but because I was quietly sustaining you. If I had not upheld you, you would not still be standing to hear my voice today. And because I preserved you in your darkest hours, I will now release you into the light I have prepared. As it is written, the Lord upholds all who fall and lifts up all who are bowed down. Psalm 145-14. So now, my child, look back upon your journey through the new light I am placing within you. It was never a struggle merely to survive. It was a doorway leading you into the vision I had already ordained. I have not only been healing your wounds, I have been transforming the way you see the world, the way you understand yourself, and the way you recognize me. From here on, you will no longer see me only as the one who comforts you in weakness, but as the one who positions you within a realm of influence you once never dared to imagine. As it is written, you are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. You were never called to remain hidden, but to shine precisely where I place you. Everything now unfolding before you carries the imprint of a purpose that has long awaited you. The resources being activated are not meant merely to make your life easier, but to enable you to fulfill your part in an eternal design. Great abundance always requires a soul that has been made steady, and you have been refined in quietness to bear it. As it is written, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. You have proven your faithfulness in what no one saw, and now you are being entrusted with what carries weight. Therefore, my child, do not be afraid as you step into this new season. Nothing from your journey has been lost. I have preserved every year you fought in silence, every prayer you whispered in solitude, every moment you rose again when everything pressed you down. Not a single thing has fallen into emptiness. As it is written, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown. Hebrews 6:10. Everything has been accounted for, and now it stands as the very foundation that lifts you higher. Be ready, my child, for the season of testing has completed its work. A new chapter is opening, one where what once caused you pain becomes your stability. What once tested you now forms the structure of your strength. And what once left you uncertain now stands as evidence that I have never left you. You no longer walk as you once did. You walk with a vision that has been illuminated. And as you move forward, you will see that nothing from the past has been discarded. It has been transformed into the very substance that elevates you within the purpose I ordained for you from the beginning. Come closer, my child, for what I am about to speak goes beyond soothing your wounds or easing your weariness. I am establishing you in your true position, where nothing remains vague, but everything becomes clear like the light of dawn. I am the one who has held your journey from its beginning to its end. And now I speak to you not merely as one who comforts, but as one who positions and commissions. As it is written, a man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9. Your steps are no longer uncertain. They are being placed exactly where they were always meant to be. You have passed through seasons of quiet shaping. You have learned endurance. You have come to understand that trials were not meant to destroy you, but to form you. And because you now understand, I am no longer guiding you only through small steps. I am bringing you into the covenant dimension that has always belonged to you. This is no longer the journey of one who searches. It is the emergence of one who carries a mark. As it is written, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. 1 Peter 2:9. You are no longer standing outside looking in. You are stepping into the position I called you to long before you recognized it. I have not raised you up so that you would continue as before. I have lifted you into a new level where you are no longer defined by circumstances, but where you begin to shape the atmosphere around you. You enter this place not by your own ability, but because I have placed you there. And when I place you, no power can bring you down. As it is written, he makes my feet like the feet of a deer and sets me upon my high places. Psalm 18:33. You are no longer in your former position. You have been elevated to see, to understand, and to act with a different perspective. You will begin to notice that everything around you is changing, not because the world itself has shifted, but because you have been transformed. The fears that once held you back will lose their voice. The temptations that once unsettled you will fade. The limitations that once bound you will lose their authority. This is not because you have become stronger in your own way, but because I have raised your level. And when your level changes, everything around you adjusts accordingly. As it is written, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You are no longer who you were. You are now operating within a new reality. Remember the story of Esther, a woman who once seemed small and insignificant, placed into circumstances she herself could not fully understand. Yet there came a moment when she realized she was not there by chance, but for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. When she stepped into her position, not only was her own life transformed, but an entire people was delivered. So it is with you. You have not been placed where you stand merely to exist, but to influence, to open pathways, and to carry light into the very places of darkness where you have been sent. You once thought of yourself as small, but I have set you within a sphere of influence far greater than you imagined. You believed you were simply trying to hold yourself together, yet I have been bringing you to the front line of spiritual movement. You assumed the blessings I promised were only to meet your personal needs, but I tell you, they are strategic resources, tools entrusted to you so that you may build what I have assigned. As it is written, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. 1 Peter 4:10. You are not merely a receiver, you are becoming a steward. You must change the way you see yourself. You are no longer the person of a former season, the one limited by lack or restrained by fear. You are one entrusted with managing the flow I am releasing. You are no longer being swept into the battle. You are standing on the front line with a perspective from heaven. You no longer react to circumstances. You shape the atmosphere where you stand. As it is written, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Matthew 28:18. And in me. You are given a measure of that authority according to what I entrust to you. Allow me to open your eyes so you may see yourself as I see you. Do not look through the lens of your past, of failures, or of moments when you doubted yourself. Look through the light of my word. When you see in this way, you will realize that the movement of this season no longer carries the weight of striving to overcome, but the clarity of stepping into place. You are no longer running, you are standing. You are no longer searching, you are receiving. You are no longer wandering, you are being positioned. And as you take your place, you will see that everything begins to operate differently. Doors will open, not because you knock harder, but because you are standing where you are meant to be. Opportunities will come, not because you strive more, but because you have been aligned with the right point of intersection. As it is written, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13. Your stillness in this moment is not passivity, It is the steadiness of one who knows they are rightly positioned. Therefore, my child, receive this with your whole heart. I am not merely helping you continue, I am commissioning you. You are not only being lifted, you are being placed. And as you walk in this awareness, you will become one who carries weight, one who shifts unseen realms, one who brings light wherever I send you, not by your own strength, but because I am within you, and I am moving through you to fulfill what I established from the very beginning. My child, I am placing you into a position that requires a new way of seeing, not the eyes of a child seeking only shelter, but the eyes of one called to stand firm in the authority and dignity of covenant. This dignity does not distance you from me, rather, it draws you closer, but with a deeper awareness that you are not only loved, you are entrusted. As it is written, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. You have proven your faithfulness in what no one saw. And now, I am expanding the scope into which you will step. You are no longer simply holding my hand to be led through small steps. You are becoming a co-laborer with me, bringing life to dry places, truth to what is dim, and the flow of abundance into regions I desire to reach. What I am doing in you now goes beyond healing past wounds. I am preparing you for a role that carries weight. I am shaping you to stand when pressure increases, to speak and see the atmosphere shift, to not only receive what I give, but to steward it according to my will. Understand this clearly. My child, the flow I am releasing is not meant to stop with you. It moves through you. It carries a purpose far beyond your personal life, touching people you have not yet met and influencing generations you have not yet imagined. As it is written, I will establish my covenant between me and you for an everlasting covenant, to you and to your descendants after you. Genesis 17:7. What I am doing is not only for the present, it is for the future, and you are standing at the origin of that unfolding. Therefore, I want you to see yourself as a pillar I have set in the place I intend to transform. You are no longer on the sidelines observing. You are positioned at the center to operate. As it is written, you are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world. Matthew 5:13-14. Salt does not remain separate, it enters to preserve and transform. Light does not hide, it shines to shape the space around it. So it is with you. You are not called to retreat, but to step in. Remember Joshua, who stood before the Jordan River at a moment of transition. The waters did not part before he stepped. They parted when his feet touched the river. As it is written, when the priests set foot in the Jordan, the waters stopped flowing. Joshua 3:13. Do you see? Power is not given merely for you to observe. It is activated when you step into your position. You are in such a moment now, not waiting for everything to become perfect, but moving in obedience. And as you move, what I have prepared will open before you. The heavens opening are not a distant image, they are a present spiritual reality. You are being given authority to enter, yet that authority is not given carelessly. I have refined you through past seasons so that your soul would be deep enough, steady enough, and wide enough to carry what I am about to entrust. As it is written, after you have suffered a little while, God Himself will restore you and make you strong, firm and steadfast. 1 Peter 5:10. You have passed through that process, and you are no longer who you once were. Great blessing always carries great responsibility, and I do not place weight upon a soul that has not been prepared. But you have been prepared through silence, through testing, through every moment you rose when strength seemed gone. These things have not only made you stronger, they have made you mature. And because you are mature, you can carry blessing without being led astray by it. You can steward the flow without being overwhelmed by it. Therefore, my child, do not look at yourself through old eyes any longer. Do not think that you are merely trying to survive or maintain what is already in your hands. You are being placed into a strategic role within my design. You are no longer at the edge, you are at the center. You are no longer standing outside, you are stepping in. You are no longer only receiving, you are stewarding. Keep your heart humble, yet do not diminish what I have placed within you. As it is written, do not despise the day of small beginnings, Zechariah 4:10. But neither should you limit the future I am unfolding before you. What I am doing is greater than what you have imagined. And you are part of it not by accident, but by my intentional choosing. I, who know all things from beginning to end, say this to you: you are more ready than you think, not because you are perfect, but because you have been shaped rightly, not because fear has vanished, but because you have learned to believe beyond it. And now, as the appointed time has come, I am placing you into your position, a place no one else can occupy, a role no one else can fulfill in your stead. Step into it with steadiness. Stand in it with conviction. For you do not stand alone, I stand with you. I move through you, and I complete through you what I have ordained from the very beginning. So, my child, now that you are standing in the place I have prepared, no longer seeing yourself as one on the margins, but recognizing that you are within the very flow I am orchestrating. Let your heart open, not in fear of the responsibility, but in holy reverence. This is a deep awareness that what you are about to carry does not originate from you, but from me, the one who has called you and is bringing to completion what I began. Do not rush, and do not force yourself to understand everything at once. Let your soul grow still in my presence, for it is in that stillness that you will discern direction, recognize the rhythm, and know when to move forward and when to remain. As it is written, be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him, Psalm 37:7. In that waiting, you are not forgotten, you are being formed, detail by detail, according to my will. There were seasons when you withdrew, thinking yourself to be small, like a speck within the vastness of life, but I have never seen you that way. Even before you understood your own worth, I had already positioned you within a sphere of influence far beyond your limited perception. You believed you were simply trying to keep your heart from breaking under pressure. Yet I tell you this, in those very days that felt like weakness, I was training you to stand at the forefront of movements you could not yet perceive. As it is written, you are the light of the world. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket. Matthew 5:14-15. I did not create you to be hidden, but to shine at the right time and in the place I have appointed. Therefore, do not allow old memories to define you any longer. You are no longer the one who struggled in lack, no longer the one merely trying to endure each day. I am bringing you into a new understanding, one in which you recognize that you are not only a recipient, but one entrusted. The blessings I give are not small rewards for you to keep, but a flow I place in your hands so that you may learn to steward them, becoming a channel for something far greater than yourself. As it is written, well done, good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your Lord. Matthew 25:21. What I seek in you is not only belief, but faithfulness in how you handle what I have entrusted. You must understand this more deeply. My child, every step forward in the spiritual life requires a renewed vision. If you continue to see yourself through the eyes of your past, you will never step into the future I have prepared for you. I am not only changing your circumstances, I am transforming the way you see yourself. You once saw yourself as one in need of help, but now I am teaching you to become a bearer of help. You once thought of yourself as one searching for light, but I am shaping you to become a source of light. As I have spoken, the Lord will make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above only, and not beneath. Deuteronomy 28:13. This is not self-exaltation, it is the correct positioning within my design. Remember the story of Gideon, who once hid in fear, threshing wheat in secret to escape his enemies. When I called him, I did not address him by his present condition, but by the identity I had already seen. The Lord is with you. Mighty man of valor, Judges 6:12. Gideon did not immediately believe, for he could only see his own smallness. Yet I did not change my word. I did not wait for him to become strong before calling him. Rather, my call led him into strength. So it is with you, my child. What I speak over you is not based on what you feel, but on what I have placed within you from the beginning. If you cling to your old way of seeing, you will miss what I am opening before you. And as you begin to see yourself through my light, you will realize that what you once called enough was only the beginning of a far greater flow. I am not limiting you to merely receiving in order to survive. I am expanding you to become one who distributes. Every opportunity, every connection, every resource I bring into your life carries a purpose far beyond your personal needs. As it is written, he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed. 2 Corinthians 9:10. I do not only provide, I multiply, so that through you, many others may be reached. But to step into this, you must release one thing, the mindset of your former season. You cannot hold on to the fear of lack while expecting to steward abundance. You cannot see yourself as weak while walking as one entrusted with authority. I am inviting you to shift your perspective, not by force, but through trust. When you choose to believe my word above your emotions, you will begin to experience a transformation within you. And from that inner shift, everything around you will start to change. My child, open your heart before me, for I am not seeking perfection in you, I am seeking readiness. When you are willing, I will continue to expand you. When you trust, I will continue to entrust more to you. When you walk, I will walk with you, and then you will realize you are not merely living an ordinary life, you are participating in a purpose far greater than you ever imagined. As it is written, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. That future is not distant. It begins the moment you choose to see yourself through my light. Therefore, rise up in this new awareness. My child, do not shrink back any longer. Do not say that you are not enough. Do not limit what I can accomplish through you. You are no longer one who merely tries to hold on to life. You are one who carries life to others. You are no longer searching for a way. You are one who opens the way. And with every step you take, I am there, unchanging and unwavering, leading you from glory to glory, until you clearly see what I have always seen in you from the very beginning. For a long time, you felt as though you were being carried by relentless waves of circumstance, as if every trial was a force pushing you without direction. But now I tell you something different. You are no longer standing in the position of one being driven. I have lifted you to a higher place, where you no longer view life from within the storm, but from above it, where you can discern the full scope of the battle and the meaning behind every movement. As it is written, he makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He sets me on my high places. Psalm 18:33. This is not a distant promise. It is the reality I am leading you into. You may not yet feel familiar with this place, because your mind still carries the imprint of former seasons, where you only knew how to react to what happened around you. But I am no longer calling you to react. I am calling you to act. You are no longer one who waits for circumstances to change in order to find peace. You are one who brings peace into unsettled places. You are no longer shaped by the atmosphere around you. You shape the atmosphere where you stand. As it is written, the kingdom of God is righteousness. peace, and joy in the Holy Spirit. Romans 14:17. And wherever you stand in me, that atmosphere of heaven can be revealed. Yet you must understand this clearly. This transition does not come from your own strength. It is not the result of striving harder or controlling more. It comes as I open your eyes to see your true nature in me. When you begin to see yourself through heaven's perspective, the fears that once bound you will lose their authority. When you understand that your identity is no longer defined by what you have experienced, but by what I have spoken, you will no longer live as one being pushed, but as one being sent. As it is written, we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. And it is that faith which opens an entirely new way of seeing. Let me remind you of a story you may not have fully considered in this way. When Elisha and his servant were surrounded by enemy forces, the servant trembled at what he saw, a vast army closing in with no visible escape. But Elisha was not afraid, because he saw through a different lens. He prayed, Lord, open his eyes that he may see. 2 Kings 6:17. And when the servant's eyes were opened, he saw the hills filled with horses and chariots of fire, the armies of heaven surrounding them. Do you see? The situation did not immediately change, but the perspective did, and that shift turned fear into steadiness. You are in such a moment now. I am not only addressing your circumstances, I am transforming how you perceive them. From this point forward, my child, you will begin to realize that what is unfolding in your life no longer carries the nature of merely trying to overcome. You are no longer one who must run from challenges or struggle to survive each season. I am positioning you as one who standing in the place I have appointed, stepping into the portion I have prepared, and taking hold of the influence I have entrusted to you. As it is written, having done all, stand firm. Ephesians 6:13. This is not a call to fight in panic, but a call to stand in certainty. Understand this well. The difference between these two positions is profound. The one who is swept into battle lives under pressure, constantly waiting to react to whatever comes next. But the one who stands on the front line with heaven's perspective is not led by fear, but by understanding. That person knows when to advance, when to pause, when to speak, and when to remain silent. And most importantly, that person does not act alone, but moves in alignment with me. Therefore, do not return to your former way of living. Do not lower yourself back into the position I have already lifted you from. When you feel shaken, remind yourself that your position has changed. When circumstances grow difficult, remember that you are no longer seeing from beneath, but from above. When you feel pushed back, speak to your soul and declare, you are not one being driven, you are one being sent. I am teaching you a new rhythm of life, a rhythm no longer governed by external events, but led by what I am doing within you. And as you walk in this rhythm, you will come to see that power does not lie in doing more, but in standing rightly. Light does not strive to shine, it simply exists. And you, if you remain in me, will function in the same way. So, my beloved, step fully into your position. Do not retreat. Do not doubt. Do not allow old voices to pull you back to where I have already brought you out from. Stand in peace, in clarity, in the assurance that I am with you. And from that position, you will not merely overcome, you will shape. You will not merely exist, you will lead. And everywhere your feet touch will begin to reflect what I have placed within you from the beginning. There will be moments in your journey when what appears before you seems like just another open door, another opportunity among many. But I tell you this, some doors are not merely pathways, they are thresholds into entirely new seasons. When you cross them, you do not simply change your location, you change the very nature of your presence. What is opening before you is not a random reward, it is a transfer. I am not only giving you what you need, I am placing into your hands what you are called to carry. So do not view the abundance you are about to encounter as mere comfort for your personal life. It is a flow with purpose. I do not fill your hands so you may hold tightly. I fill them so you may become a source. When you receive, you are also being entrusted. When you are lifted, you are also called to lift others. As it is written, to whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 12:48. This is not to burden you, but to reveal the true value of what I am placing within you. It is grace paired with responsibility. Understand this clearly. My child, when that door opens, you no longer stand in the position of one who only receives. I am shifting you from waiting into leading. You are no longer in the corridor, observing from the outside. I am bringing you into the center of operation. And in that place, you do not act out of impulse or emotion. You move with awareness that every step you take carries influence. As it is written, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. 1 Peter 2:9. You are not called to stand at the margins, but to step into authority within my light. But you must guard your heart as you step into this. My child, do not let the change in your position cause you to forget the source of your power. What you receive does not originate from you, it comes from me. And only by remaining in me will you be able to sustain what I entrust to you. As it is written, apart from me you can do nothing. John 15:5. This is not a limitation, it is protection, so that you will not lose your way in the midst of what has been placed in your hands. Remember Joseph, who was sold and forgotten in prison. When I opened the door for him, I did not simply bring him out of confinement, I placed him in authority over an entire land. Yet Joseph did not step into that place as one who had merely escaped misfortune. He stepped in as one who had been prepared. The hidden years were not delay, they were training for a greater assignment. And when the moment came, he did not live for himself, but became a source of preservation for an entire generation. As it is written, God sent me before you to preserve life. Genesis 45:5. This is how I move. I raise one so that many may be reached. So it is with you. My child, what I am opening for you is not limited to changing your personal circumstances. It is designed to transform the environments you enter. Wherever you go, you will carry something beyond yourself, a presence, a flow, an atmosphere that renews what surrounds you. You are not only set free to live, you are entrusted with the authority to bring freedom to others. The chains that have been broken in your life were not removed solely for your sake, but so that through you, others may also be released. As it is written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to proclaim freedom for the captives. Luke 4:18. This is not the story of one alone. It is the pattern I desire to reproduce through those who are willing. Therefore, do not enter this season with the mindset of one who merely benefits. Enter as one entrusted with an assignment. With every opportunity you encounter, ask, what of heaven can I bring into this place? With every resource you receive, consider, how can this be multiplied beyond me? When you live with this posture, you will not be trapped in accumulation, but will move into the flow of distribution. And within that flow, you will never run dry. My child, I speak this to shape your heart. From this point forward, you no longer live for yourself alone. This does not mean you lose who you are. It means you discover your greater purpose. When you live for generations, you touch what is eternal. When you walk with an awareness of influence, you become part of a plan that extends beyond time. As it is written, one generation shall praise your works to another. Psalm 145:4. You do not stand alone. You stand within a continuum of what I am doing across many generations. So when that door opens, do not hesitate. Do not doubt. Do not question whether you are worthy. I do not open doors because you are perfect. I open them because you are ready in my way. Step forward with humility, yet with firmness. Stand in your new position with the clear understanding that you are not there by chance, but by divine appointment. And as you walk in this awareness, you will see that every place your feet touch will no longer remain the same. It will begin to change, because you do not come as an ordinary person, but as one who carries what I have placed within you from the beginning. There is a truth you must anchor deeply within your heart. The abundance you seek does not begin with what you hold in your hands. It begins with what you release through your mouth. Before you see any outward change, I have already placed power within your words. When you come into agreement with what I have stated, the argivit voice, you are not merely producing sound, you are shaping the atmosphere, opening a flow that is not yet visible to the natural eye. As it is written, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. This means that every word you speak carries weight. It builds or tears down, opens or closes. So do not keep hope confined within your heart as something vague. I have not called you to passive hope. I have called you into active certainty. When you speak what I have placed within you, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. When you declare in faith, what is unseen begins to take form. As it is written, we believe, and therefore we speak. 2 Corinthians 4:13. Faith is not meant to remain hidden. It must be expressed. Speak boldly, not in pride, but in alignment with me, that you are stepping into abundance, that the door has opened, that nothing can withhold what I have ordained for you. And as you speak in this way, you activate a new order within your life. But my child, for your words to carry true weight, you must be willing to sever the patterns of thinking that once confined you. There are forms of poverty that have nothing to do with money, yet bind the soul far more deeply when you see yourself as unworthy. When you make small decisions out of fear, when you speak of the future with doubt, when you treat yourself as though your value were limited, I have not called you to live in that state. I did not create you to shrink within the narrow framework shaped by your past. Remember the man who sat at the beautiful gate, a beggar who lived his entire life with small expectations, asking only for coins to survive each day. When Peter and John came to him, they did not give him what he had learned to ask for, but said, in the name of Jesus Christ, rise up and walk. Acts 3:6. What he received was not money, but a transformation of identity. He was no longer one who sat waiting for alms. He became one who stood and moved. So it is with you, my child. I do not intend merely to meet the small needs you have grown accustomed to requesting. I intend to change how you see yourself, so that you no longer live as one who is limited. Therefore, begin by changing the way you speak. Do not speak as one in lack when I have called you into abundance. Do not speak as one restrained when I have made a way. Every word you release must reflect what I am doing, not what you have been through. As it is written, say to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea. Mark 11:23. I did not tell you to speak about the mountain, I told you to speak to it. This means you are not passive before your circumstances. You are entrusted with authority to confront and transform them. Yet words are only the beginning. From those words, you must move into corresponding action. Look again at how you invest in yourself. Are you treating yourself as one who carries the value I have placed within you? Consider how you speak about your future. Are you expanding it or narrowing it? Reflect on how you handle your dreams. Are you guarding them or quietly abandoning them? I am calling you to change these things, not gradually, but with clear resolve. For when your thinking changes, the atmosphere changes, and when the atmosphere changes, your season will follow. You are standing at a significant threshold, a point of intersection between the old and the new. If you cling to former patterns, you will pull your future back into your past. But if you choose to break away to speak differently, think differently, and live differently, you will step into what I have long prepared. As it is written, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. This transformation is not a passing feeling, it is a deep inner shift that begins within you. So begin now. My beloved, let your mouth speak life. Let your mind expand beyond limitation, and let your actions reflect the new value I have placed within you. Do not fear change, for within that change you will find true freedom. And as you walk in that freedom, you will not only see your own life lifted, you will see every place you touch begin to shift, because you are no longer living as one held back, but as one released to open the way. Understand this as well. What unfolds in your life does not emerge from belief alone, but from the steps of obedience you dare to take. Faith is the foundation, but obedience is the doorway. When you respond to my voice, even in small ways unnoticed by others, you align yourself with a principle of heaven, that every act of obedience carries the power to break unseen limitations. As it is written, to obey is better than sacrifice. 1 Samuel 15:22. I am not seeking grand gestures as you imagine them. I am seeking a heart willing to step forward, even without full understanding of the path ahead. Therefore, my child, do not wait until everything becomes clear before you move forward. If you wait for perfection, you will remain standing still. It is your step that brings clarity to the path. When you adjust the small things, how you speak, how you think, how you respond, you are setting in motion a flow far greater than you realize. As it is written, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. A shift in season does not begin with great waves, but with quiet movements in the details you choose to align with me. Remember Naaman, a mighty commander afflicted with leprosy. When he came seeking healing, he expected something grand, an impressive display. A dramatic act. Yet I instructed him to do something simple, to go down to the Jordan and wash 7 times. At first, he was offended, because it seemed too small compared to his expectations. But when he humbled himself and obeyed, that very act, so simple in appearance, became the gateway to his complete healing. 2 Kings 5:10-14. Do you see? It is not the scale of the action that releases the miracle, but the obedience that connects you to my power. My child, I am calling you into a role you have never carried before. You are no longer one who stands outside, observing or reacting. You are becoming one who stands at the gate, where flows are determined and atmospheres are shaped. I have placed you there not by chance, but with intention. You are the one I will use to break limits that have stood across generations. You are the one I have chosen to open new pathways, where what was once closed will be released. As it is written, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Revelation 3:8. Yet that door is not only for you to walk through, it is so that through you, many others may find their way. But to stand firm in this position, you must let go of fear. You cannot hold on to fear and carry authority at the same time. I am not calling you to step forward with trembling uncertainty, but with the steadiness of one who knows where they belong. The mark of heaven upon you is not something you create, it is something I have placed. And when you recognize this, you will no longer need to prove yourself. You will simply stand in your place, and the light will reveal itself. You have lived long enough in a place of limitation, where every step was weighed by fear of lack, where you reduced yourself to fit your circumstances. But I am leading you out of that place. I am bringing you into a different realm, where you learn to steward rather than merely survive. where you learn to distribute rather than only hold. As it is written, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Psalm 23:1. This is not merely a comfort, it is the foundation for how you now live. A life no longer governed by the fear of insufficiency. And as you step into this new ground, remember this: the purpose is not for display or self-exaltation. I do not raise you up so that you may be seen, but so that through you my works may be revealed. I do not give so that you may store up, but so that you may steward. Everything you receive carries a responsibility to multiply, to extend, and to reach the places I intend. As it is written, I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain. John 15:16. You are not called to preserve what is temporary, but to produce what endures. My child, you may not yet see the full measure of your influence, but I do. You may not fully understand the path ahead, but I have already established it. What I require from you is not perfection, but a wholehearted yes. For when you say yes, you are not merely agreeing with me, you are opening a new direction, not only for your own life, but for those who will come after you. Therefore, rise into the position I have prepared for you. Walk with clarity, without hesitation. Act as one who has been entrusted, not as one still searching. And with every step you take, you will begin to see that you are not striving to change everything. Your obedience itself is what causes everything around you to shift. When you say yes, the current begins to turn. When you move forward, doors begin to open. And when you stand in your rightful place, heaven and earth meet at the point of your presence. Now, let this word guide you. Bring your heart before me, not as an obligation, but as a natural flow rising from the deepest place within your spirit, a sincere response to the love and calling I have placed upon your life. Do not come to me with familiar phrases or worn patterns, but with unhidden honesty. I do not seek perfection in your words. I seek truth in your openness. O Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth by your word, today I do not stand before you as a stranger, but as a soul fully known by you in the deepest places. I offer myself to you, not concealed, not adorned, but as I truly am. Continue to shape me, so that I may not only stand firm in the place you have set, but also carry the heart you desire, a heart that does not grow proud when lifted, does not tremble when facing trials, but remains tender and obedient to your voice. As it is written, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. I long to be renewed from within, so that all I do flows not from self, but from your leading. O you who see all things, purify the way I see myself. Let me no longer look through the lens of my past or my failures, but through the light of what you have spoken. Open my eyes to see the person you are forming, one no longer bound by fear, but released to walk in fullness. As it is written, we all, with unveiled face, beholding the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image. 2 Corinthians 3:18. Let that transformation unfold daily within me, that I may no longer remain as I was, but become more like you in all things. And in the midst of these prayers, my child, your heart also rises in deep gratitude, for you begin to see that nothing in this journey has been meaningless. Gracious Father, I thank you for the seasons when I thought I had been forgotten, yet you were quietly preparing me. I thank you for the days of weakness, for in those very moments I learned to lean on you more fully. As it is written, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. I am no longer ashamed of my weakness, for I now understand that it is the very place where your power is most clearly revealed. So I place the path ahead entirely into your hands, not with anxiety, but with a deep and abiding peace. I do not know everything that lies ahead, but I know that you have gone before me. Teach me to walk not as one uncertain, but as one who is being led. Let every step I take carry your light, so that wherever I go, things will not remain as they were. And as I move forward, remind me always that I do not walk alone, but with you, the one who has called me, sustained me, and will bring to completion all that you have ordained for my life. Thank you for receiving this message. Know that you are not merely a listener, you are one chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss any spiritual messages. Amen. Beloved child, listen with the deepest attention of your heart. For today I no longer speak to you in the gentle tone that accompanied you through your silent trials. I speak as the one who governs the destiny of seasons, the one who appoints the moment when seeds break open and when fields turn golden with harvest. From this very hour, you no longer stand in the hazy intersection between hope and doubt. You have been led across an unseen boundary that I, myself, have drawn. As it is written, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. I affirm to you that what I have begun is no longer resting in the realm of intention, but has been activated by the authority of heaven. You may not yet see the full panorama, yet the wheel has already turned, and the door has been opened before your hand ever reached for its handle. Do not allow your heart to drift back to the long days that felt like delay, for it was within those quiet stretches that I was refining your inner being. I have not forgotten a single drop of sweat that fell while you labored unseen, nor the evenings when you remained faithful, though no one applauded your perseverance. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. Psalm 84:11. You have walked in that uprightness, not flawless, but sincere, not dazzling in the eyes of men, but steadfast before me. It is that endurance that has reached the appointed time I set for you long ago. There is a story you have heard before, yet I want you to behold it in a new light. When Joseph was sold into slavery and later forgotten in a prison cell, no one imagined he would one day stand before Pharaoh's throne. Yet when my hour arrived, every fragment that seemed scattered fell perfectly into place, and the forgotten man became the steward of a nation. What I did for Joseph was not a sudden reward. It was the unveiling of a process quietly unfolding across many years. In the same way, the days when you believed you were falling behind were the very days I was laying the foundation for a leap forward beyond your imagination. When I open a path, no authority can shut it. When I raise you up, no circumstance can hold you down. I speak to you as a father who sees the destination from the beginning of the road. Your work will no longer feel like an exhausting cycle, but will become the platform through which the grace I placed within you is revealed. Your career will no longer be veiled by the fog of uncertainty. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. That purpose does not depend on your perfection, but on my faithfulness. Your task is not to rush ahead in anxiety, but to move forward with the steady rhythm of trust. You may wonder how I can speak with such certainty. Remember when the people of Israel stood before the Red Sea, with the army behind them and deep waters ahead, seeing no way of escape. Yet I spoke to Moses, and the sea was compelled to divide. The path did not exist until I declared it. Today, I am parting the Red Seas in your life as well, the career barriers, the limitations that seemed immovable, the opportunities that once appeared sealed shut. You will cross over, not by your own strength, but by the power of the one who has already prepared the way before you. Let your heart be at rest. For this new season no longer belongs to the future. It has already begun. I am not speaking of a distant possibility, but of a reality that is taking shape day by day. Strategic relationships will emerge at the appointed time. Opportunities that once seemed beyond your reach will draw near. Doors that were firmly shut will open so naturally that you will know it was not coincidence. As it is written, commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. You have committed your way, and I am bringing it to fulfillment. Do not be afraid if this step forward requires you to leave what is familiar. A young bird cannot remain in the nest if it is to discover the vastness of the sky. I am enlarging your borders, not to cause you to lose your way, but to reveal the potential I placed within you from the beginning. Every challenge you endured was not delay, but reinforcement. Each time you chose faithfulness over surrender became a stone laid into the foundation of this breakthrough. Therefore, beloved, walk with your head lifted high and your heart kept humble. I am not raising you so that pride may grow, but so that you may become a blessing to many. Just as I lifted David from an unnoticed shepherd to king over Israel, I am able to reposition you in a single moment. Yet what I seek is not merely outward success, but a heart that knows all glory belongs to me. Believe this, you are no longer in a season of sowing without seeing harvest. You are stepping into a time of reaping. The prayers you thought had dissolved into silence have been remembered by me. The efforts you believed you carried alone were never carried alone at all. Now I am allowing you to see the fruit of your perseverance. You are no longer standing before a closed door. You have entered a corridor of radiant opportunities. This new season does not wait for you to feel fully prepared. It comes to transform you as you walk within it. So release every remnant of doubt. I am the one who is called, prepared, and opened the way. You need only move forward in faith. For when I speak, my word does not return empty. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Matthew 24:35. Rest in that certainty, and let your heart be filled with the joy of one who knows that the appointed time has arrived. Beloved child, there were days when you wondered why your rhythm seemed slower than others, why your plans felt repeatedly delayed, why doors closed just as your hand touched them. But I tell you with the tenderness of a father who knows every step you take, that was not stagnation, nor a sign of insufficiency. It was my hand holding you back to adjust the surrounding environment to the measure I had destined for you. I do not plant a young tree in the midst of a storm before its roots have grown deep, nor do I entrust great responsibility when there are still fractures within that could cause you to fall. For the Lord searches all hearts and understands every plan and thought. 1 Chronicles 28:9. Those slower months were not loss, but a process of examination and strengthening at the core of your being. There were moments when you believed I was silent, yet I was quietly rearranging what your eyes could not yet perceive. Just as a builder does not raise the roof before the foundation is firm, I patiently dug deeper, pressed tighter, and reinforced layer upon layer within you. Old limitations, hidden fears, impulsive reactions, I touched them and transformed them in the quietness of the former season. You may have felt left behind, but I knew that if I had propelled you forward before your inner structure was secure, success itself would have become a burden too heavy to bear. So I held you back not to wound you, but to protect the future I have prepared for you. Remember David when he was still in the fields, tending sheep, while his brothers stood on the battlefield. He remained in solitude with his flock and his harp. To every observer, it appeared that he had been overlooked, that he was missing his moment, yet I was teaching him to fight lions and bears before he would ever stand before Goliath. I was forming courage within him and cultivating trust that could not be shaken. Had I placed David before the enemy without those hidden victories, he would have fallen. In the same way, the unseen battles of your previous season were preparation for the leap that lies ahead. I did not abandon you in the pasture. I was preparing you for the throne. Now I declare this to you. The season of laying foundations is complete. The phase of waiting for all things to align has come to its close. What needed correction within your heart has been addressed. What required rearrangement in your surroundings has been shifted. You are no longer in a waiting room. You are standing before a door already opened from within. I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Revelation 3:8. That door did not open because you exerted greater effort than others, nor because you proved yourself worthy, but because the appointed moment has arrived and I have activated it. You may be surprised to see opportunities appearing almost simultaneously. What once seemed silent will suddenly stir. Places that once rejected you may now extend invitation. Connections that appeared dormant may come alive again. Do not be alarmed by the pace of change, for this is not disorder. It is a wave I have restrained until the proper hour. When I cause the sea to rise, it does not drip one drop at a time. It surges according to my command. In this season, your professional breakthrough will come in the same way, not fragmented, not scattered, but like a strong current washing away every trace of former stagnation. Yet, beloved, do not confuse speed with haste. I do not teach you to run in panic. I teach you to walk with quiet confidence. The foundation has been laid precisely so that you will not be overwhelmed when opportunity floods in. The years I trained you in discipline, patience, and integrity in small matters were all preparation, so that when greater responsibility is entrusted to you, you will not merely seize it, you will steward it well. One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. You have learned faithfulness, now I entrust you with more. I know there were moments when you feared you were not enough, that if many doors opened at once, you would not be able to adapt. But remember, I am the one who has trained you through every season. I do not cast you into unfamiliar territory without preparation. I lead you into what I have already prepared. Joseph did not enter the palace as an immature dreamer. He stepped in after years of testing. Having learned governance in hardship, when my hour came, he did not simply receive promotion. He administered a strategy that preserved entire nations. Likewise, you will not merely touch opportunity. You will take hold of it with the wisdom I have placed within you. Therefore, release the question, why was I slowed down, and replace it with thanksgiving. You held me back at the right time. The slowing was not punishment, it was preparation. Now that I have signaled the changing of the season, do not look back with regret. You are not entering this phase as someone lacking. You are entering as one equipped. The doors that remained closed over the past year will open not because they have changed, but because I have changed you and I have aligned the time. Guard your heart in humility amid the rising tide of advancement. Do not allow achievement to cause you to forget the one who laid the foundation beneath you. As it is written, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts. Zechariah 4:6. This breakthrough is not the product of strained effort, but of my breath released over your season. When you walk in that awareness, success will not become a burden. It will become a place where my glory is reflected through you. Beloved, prepare your heart to receive the wave. Do not fear its strength, for I am with you in every step. I have built the foundation, arranged the environment, and activated the appointed time. The season of delay has passed. The season of unveiling has arrived. And as you move forward, you will understand that every former pause was not meant to hinder you, but to ensure that when you stepped into this breakthrough, you would not merely stand, you would rise and steward what I have entrusted to you. Engrave this truth deeply within your heart. You are not entering this new chapter by accident. nor by a string of undefined chances. You are being led by divine appointment. What the world calls perfect timing, I call destiny fulfilled. What they name a fortunate season, I know as an appointed hour. With me, no step of yours is meaningless. No event in your career journey is random. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. Proverbs 16:9. You have walked through turns you did not understand. Yet every bend was part of a map I drew long before you saw it. There were moments when you sat quietly after rejection, when you returned from interviews with a heaviness in your chest, when you watched projects stall and wondered where you had gone wrong. But I tell you, with the steady gaze of a father who never misjudges your worth, that was not dismissal, it was redirection. I did not allow you to enter places merely sufficient for your present capacity. I preserved you for spaces worthy of the potential I embedded within you. Some doors I closed not because you were unqualified, but because what lay behind them was too small to contain the future I intend for you. You were not pushed out, you were protected from limitations that would have confined you. Remember the story of Esther. She did not enter the palace because of beauty alone or by coincidence. Who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther 4:14. It was not fortune. It was divine orchestration for a purpose greater than she could initially perceive. In the same way, the moments when you thought you had almost reached success, only to see it slip away, were my adjustments of timing. Had Esther been elevated too early or too late, the deliverance of her people would not have unfolded as it did. Timing is not incidental to my plan, it is integral. There are failures you have carried like scars hidden within your heart. But I tell you plainly, they were only outward defeats. They do not define you, nor do they determine your future. I have used those moments that felt like stumbling to forge within you deeper vision, greater endurance, and truer maturity. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. Even what appeared as loss has been shaped by my hand into a stepping stone. You once believed you had taken the wrong direction, not realizing that I was opening pathways you could not yet perceive. When the people of Israel wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, they assumed they were lost. Yet the wilderness was not abandonment, it was a school. There I taught them trust, trained them to recognize my voice, and formed in them dependence upon daily provision. Had they entered the promised land while still carrying the mindset of slavery, they would not have been able to sustain what I intended to give. Likewise, I do not elevate you while old patterns still govern your thinking. I refine, expand, and reshape you within before I lift you without. So do not label your past as a chain of mistakes. Call it a guided journey. Do not call rejection a closed door. Call it a turn toward a truer road. You were never being prepared for the position others assumed fit you. You have been prepared for the role I know you were born to fulfill. I am never hurried. I do not grant authority before the heart is ready. I do not lay heavy responsibility upon shoulders that still tremble at the need for approval. Now I speak as the one who does not reverse his decision. The season of partial results has ended. You are no longer circling within almost. Within, so close. Within, just short. You are stepping into the realm of genuine fruit. Your efforts will no longer dissolve into silence. The seeds you sowed in secrecy will begin to sprout in clarity. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. And whoever sows generously will also reap generously. 2 Corinthians 9:6. You have sown in tears. Now I give you harvest in joy. Remain attentive, for this transition is not loud, yet it is unmistakable. You will notice small confirmations before the greater wave arrives. Opportunities will surface not to test you, but to affirm that you are aligned with the right trajectory. Do not diminish yourself while I am enlarging your borders. Do not doubt, when I am confirming your position. Beloved, walk in deep assurance. Nothing you have endured was meaningless. No failure has altered my intention concerning you. You do not enter this season of opportunity by striving, you enter it by appointment. And when I appoint, no power can overturn it. The world may call it luck, but you know it is orchestration. The world may say you were at the right time, but I say you are in the right place. And in that rightful place, you will not only achieve success, you will stand firmly in the position I prepared for you from the beginning. Beloved child, when I declare a season of transformation over your life, it is not a mere encouragement for you to strain harder. It is a confirmation that you no longer have to sustain yourself by your limited strength. From here forward, you will not walk like one struggling to balance against the waves, but like one upheld by my steady hand. Blessed are those whose strength is in the Lord, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage. Psalm 84:5. Your strength will not come from strained effort, but from the quiet confidence of trusting that I am deliberately arranging every step before you. You have grown accustomed to searching for openings on your own, feeling your way through relationships, striving to prove your worth. But now I tell you plainly, you are no longer in the position of pleading for opportunity. You enter rooms of destiny as one personally invited. I will bring encounters you did not calculate, connections you did not orchestrate, and people who appear at the precise moment like pieces, perfectly aligned. Just as I led Ruth to the field of Boaz in what seemed like coincidence but was divine guidance, so I will lead you to the place where the right people are already waiting. Ruth did not run in pursuit of fortune, she walked faithfully. And I made the field, she stepped into the gateway to her future. In the same way, remain faithful in your steps, and I will handle the alignment. There were doors you once observed from afar, convincing yourself that you were not qualified to enter. You measured yourself by the world's standards and found deficiency. But I do not view you through comparison. I see you through the purpose I planted within you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. When I open a door, it does not hinge upon the resume you present, but upon the appointment I have decreed. You will be astonished to find that the very places you considered beyond your reach will be the first to welcome you. Not because you have suddenly become flawless, but because I have shifted your position. Listen carefully. You no longer carry the posture of one who begs. You do not bow in search of temporary approval. I have placed you upon a foundation I constructed, and that ground does not tremble under praise or criticism. When David was anointed, he did not immediately sit upon the throne, yet from the moment the oil touched his head, his identity was transformed. Though he remained in the fields for a season, he was no longer merely a shepherd. He was a king awaiting the appointed time. You stand in a new identity as well, even if your surroundings have not yet fully reflected it. Recognition will not be something you chase. It will find you when I allow my light to shine through you. What I am doing in your career is not a minor adjustment, nor simply a modest promotion. I am initiating a profound shift. Recall when I called Abraham out of his homeland. I did not merely grant him another field. I changed his horizon. I led him away from familiarity and into a covenant far greater than he had known. In the same way, I am not merely lifting you within the same framework. I am transferring you into a different level of influence and vision. This is not slight expansion. It is a complete change of context. You may sense a tremor as I enact this transformation. For when an old foundation is replaced by a new one, the heart must learn to stand at a higher elevation. Yet I do not elevate you only to abandon you. The Lord is your keeper. He will keep your soul. Psalm 121:5. And every step of this transition is enclosed within my protection. You are not climbing alone. You are being lifted. Do not fear the change of identity. When Joseph stepped from the prison into the palace, he did not merely exchange garments, he stepped into an entirely new position. I had arranged the years of hardship beforehand so that when the moment arrived, he would not tremble before authority. In the same way, you will find yourself placed in new environments where your heart no longer quakes. The skills you learned in obscurity will become the keys that unlock wide and significant doors. Therefore, beloved, release the obsession with proving yourself. Let go of the habit of lowering yourself in order to be noticed. I have built a firm foundation beneath you, and you stand upon it with humble confidence. When I open the way, you do not need to push through crowds. When I send the right people, you do not need to manipulate outcomes. When I lift you to a higher level, you do not need to elevate yourself. This new season is not a struggle, it is a confirmation. It is not weary climbing step by step, it is entry into an entirely different plane. Once you grasp this, you will walk not in anxiety, but in the peace of one who knows they are guided by the one who never errs. You are no longer bracing yourself with limited strength. You are being repositioned by my power. Beloved child, open your heart and be ready, for I am realigning your professional path in ways you have not imagined. The days when you questioned why you were in a role that seemed misaligned with your aspirations, why you felt as though you were living beneath your true capacity, were not mistakes. I allowed you to remain there long enough to learn what needed to be learned, to absorb necessary experience, to refine the rough edges within you. The Lord tests the righteous, Psalm 11:5. And every place you have stood was part of my process of preparation. No environment is meaningless when I place you within it. You once prayed for a door to open, waited in hope, and felt disappointment when it remained still. Yet, I am never late. I simply refuse to give you something small when I am preparing something greater. Some paths I close not to discourage you, but to prevent you from settling into a space too narrow for the future I intend for you. When I led Abraham out of his homeland, I did not reveal every detail, but I promised him a land far broader than what he knew. Go to the land that I will show you, Genesis 12:1. You are being led in that same way, not away from something good, but away from what is not yet sufficient. Now I speak as the one who has seen every drop of sweat, every quiet effort. Every time you rose after disappointment, I am opening roads that no one can shut. I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut, Revelation 3-8. The shift will come more swiftly than you expect, not because you suddenly accelerate, but because I act according to heaven's rhythm. My timing is not bound by the schedules you draft. When I decree a change of season, everything can alter in a moment. Do not think I am merely moving you to another workplace to change the scenery. I am positioning you in a role of influence. You are not entering simply to complete tasks and endure each day. You are entering to create, to shape, to become a pillar for many. Remember when I lifted Joseph from prison to governance over Egypt. He was not given merely employment. He was entrusted with the responsibility of preserving nations. You, too, have not been prepared to stand at the margins. You have been prepared to lead. I placed within you a different mindset before altering your outward circumstances. You began to think more expansively, to see further ahead, to analyze more deeply. This was not accidental. I have been enlarging your inner vision to match the environment that awaits you. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you, Ezekiel 36:26. Renewal begins within, before it manifests without. You carry discernment and operational strength you once did not recognize. The skills you possess are not products of chance. They are evidence that I have prepared you for something greater. Consider Moses. Before he stood before Pharaoh, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. Others might call that wasted time, but I call it training. When the appointed hour arrived, Moses did not merely speak on my behalf. He led an entire nation. You too have been shaped in environments that seemed ordinary, so that when I bring you into new territory, you will not falter. The perseverance you learned, the discernment you sharpened, the decisiveness you refined, these are provisions for the position ahead. I am refining you so that you will not only remain steady, but become a foundation amid shifting ground. Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house upon the rock. Matthew 7:24. You will not be swept away by pressure. You will influence the culture of the place where you stand. You will not arrive as one reacting. You will arrive as one shaping, not by loudness, but by steadiness, not by force, but by integrity and clarity of vision. Therefore, beloved, do not fear when change unfolds swiftly. Do not be unsettled when doors open in ways you did not anticipate. I am not bringing you into new spaces to test you again. I am bringing you into alignment with your new level. This is no longer the season of striving to survive. It is the season of receiving a role in order to advance. You do not enter trembling, but confident in my guidance. Prepare your heart, for this redirection is not merely a change of job, it is a change of standing. You will find yourself placed in settings where your voice carries weight, where your decisions generate impact, and where your presence produces transformation. I am not incrementally lifting you. I am positioning you on an entirely different plane. And as you stand there, you will understand that every prior season was a stepping stone leading you to the right place, the right role, the right time where you will not merely exist, but shine and shape the future. Beloved child, this season marks a profound shift in your identity. You are no longer merely one who completes assigned tasks, no longer lingering at the margins of significant decisions awaiting permission. I am ushering you into a realm of responsibility entrusted from heaven. This transition is not simply an additional rung on a corporate ladder or an increase in income. It is an elevation in influence and depth of impact. One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. I have seen your quiet faithfulness when no one else noticed. Therefore today, I entrust you with greater things, not as a temporary reward, but as a lasting commission. And when I have entrusted something, no power can take it back. There were years when you had to manufacture opportunity for yourself, knocking on door after door, striving to prove your worth. But I tell you plainly, that chapter has closed. You no longer live under the strain of competing to be noticed. I have placed you upon a foundation I established, and from there, the light will naturally illuminate you. Let your light shine before others. Matthew 5:16. You do not need to chase recognition. Recognition will come when I bring the moment to fullness. Remember Joseph. He did not escort himself into the palace. I brought him from the prison to authority. When my hour arrived, no past accusation could obstruct his ascent. In the same way, the limitations that once restrained you no longer have jurisdiction over your future. I am not merely lifting you incrementally, I am transferring you into an entirely different level where your voice carries weight and your decisions generate impact. This change is not meant to entangle you in meaningless busyness. The unexpected invitations, the large-scale projects, the strategic discussions into which you are drawn, these are signs of the shift I have set in motion. I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places. Isaiah 45:3. Paths you never pursued will appear before you. Places you have never entered will call your name. This is not to overwhelm you, but to position you where I ordained you to stand. You once questioned whether you deserved such attention, but I did not choose you for perfection. I chose you for integrity and endurance. Just as I chose David while he was still tending sheep, not because of stature, but because I saw his heart, so I have placed a fresh anointing upon you. When I anoint, I do not consult the crowd. Your season of hiddenness has concluded. A new confirmation rests upon you. Do not think you are nearing the end of the road. You are only now stepping into the correct direction. Everything you have endured was preparation so that you would not be overwhelmed when vision expands. I am imparting to you discernment to govern, clarity to decide, and resilience to remain steady amid change. You will not merely function within a system, you will help shape it. The time when you had to strain to generate opportunity has passed. Now you walk in the light I set before you, and opportunity will seek you out. When I told Peter to cast his net once more after a fruitless night, the overflowing catch came not from his expertise, but from my word. In the same way, you will witness unexpected catches in your work, not by your strength, but by my direction. So, beloved, remain peaceful and prepared. I, who see from beginning to end, declare that your breakthrough has already been set in motion. You need not rush. Simply follow the light I place at your feet. As you move, you will see every piece gradually align like a completed image. This is not an ending. It is the unveiling of a stage where you are seen, heard, and entrusted according to the measure I have ordained for you. My child, go deeper into what I am declaring. For the road before you no longer belongs to someone feeling their way through uncertainty. You are not standing at a crossroads, weighing endless possibilities. You are being carried into a new orbit that I, myself, have established. This is not a minor adjustment in your schedule, nor a slight correction in direction. I am restructuring the entire professional atmosphere around you so that it resonates with the new frequency of your spirit. When I move, it is not a vague shift, it is a reallocation from heaven. Doors aligned with your calling will be compelled to open, and those no longer fitting will close of their own accord. I will go before you and level the exalted places. I will break in pieces the doors of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. Isaiah 45:2. Once the command has gone forth, no system has authority to obstruct it, and no opposing voice can overturn what I have sealed. You will soon recognize that your advancement is not the product of favorable circumstances, but the evidence of a decision issued in the spiritual realm. The world may observe outward motion and name it luck, but you will know it is directive from heaven. You are no longer walking according to fluctuating opinions or temporary evaluations. You are moving under clear guidance. The steps of a righteous man are established by the Lord. Psalm 37:23. I have established your steps, and I do not lead you into ambiguity. You have passed through situations that felt like dead ends. There were days when you believed you had reached your limit, that your capacity was suited only for small and secure tasks. Yet within those pressures I was building endurance for a greater role. Remember Joseph in the prison. The years there did not diminish him. They expanded his inner capacity to govern a nation. You have been expanded in the same way. Tasks that once strained you will now feel lighter, not because they have grown smaller, but because you have grown stronger. This is the mark of maturity I have quietly formed within you. Do not be surprised when you handle new responsibilities with unusual composure. I have placed within you discernment, sharpness in decision-making, and a spirit firm as rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. Matthew 7:24. I am making you a foundation stone in the environment where I position you. You are not entering merely to fulfill assignments. You are entering to shape culture, to set standards, to bring order where there was confusion. Your role is no longer to strive for survival. You are stepping in to build. The people you encounter in this season are not random tests. They are links in the strategy I have designed. Just as I arranged for Esther to stand before the king at the precise moment her people needed deliverance, I am orchestrating your meetings in perfect sequence. No one arrives prematurely. No one appears outside the plan. I adjust the path, determine the order, and connect each piece. You are no longer wandering among vague options. You are being guided by a purposeful strategy. You may once have thought you could advance only in small increments, but I am propelling you into accelerated trajectory. This shift is not meant to overwhelm you. It is proof that you are ready. When I sign a decree, I do not hesitate. When I release a command, I ensure that every necessary element aligns. You are no longer restrained by former limitations. I am changing the level of your influence, not simply lifting you slightly higher, but placing you in an entirely different sphere. Therefore, beloved, walk with certainty. Do not look back at the days when you believed you were not advancing. See them as foundation stones. Do not question the capacity I have placed within you. It is greater than you imagine. You are no longer moving according to the shifting moods of your surroundings. You are moving under the command of heaven. And when I have determined something, you will witness events aligning in such a way that you realize you are not struggling to find your place. You are standing in a position prepared beforehand. My beloved child, understand this clearly. What I am preparing for your professional journey is not built merely upon natural ability or skills you have accumulated. Its true foundation is the anointing I placed within your soul long before you became aware of it. That is why you once felt like a garment that did not fit within your former environment, not because you lacked value, but because that space was too narrow for the trajectory I assigned to you. The Lord looks at the heart, 1 Samuel 16:7. And I have seen the capacity within you exceeding the place where you once stood. When I removed you from familiarity, you thought you were being cast into emptiness. But in truth, I was positioning you in a new space aligned with your spiritual maturity. I do not lead you into crowded places so you may dissolve into noise. I bring you to the right people, to minds and hearts attuned to what I am forming in you. Former connections are refined, not to isolate you, but to guard you from scattered energy and misdirected paths. Just as I separated Elijah from the multitude so he could encounter Elisha, a connection appointed at the precise moment, I am refining the relationships around you. This is strategic purification, not deprivation. You were once accustomed to striving to be seen, to proving your worth with every incremental step. But in this season, you will witness the reversal. Recognition will pursue you. I will cause those in authority to notice you swiftly, not after prolonged waiting. I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Exodus 3:21. When I place light upon you, no one can dim it. Not because you promote yourself, but because I move others to speak well of you. Not because you knock persistently, but because I place your name within the thoughts of those positioned at the right time. You will enter conversations that once intimidated you. Strategic discussions will unfold before you, like doors that had long been waiting. You may wonder, what has changed? I tell you, it is not that you have suddenly become flawless. It is that I have elevated you to the proper level of influence. When David was anointed, he did not chase the throne. My timing and arrangement brought him there. Likewise, your elevation flows from anointing, not self-exaltation. Do not be troubled by what you perceive as gaps in your preparation. I never lead you into a place without first equipping you. The Lord will provide, Genesis 22:14. Fresh ideas will come to you like cool streams. Solutions unseen by others will surface in your mind in a moment. Decisions that once left you hesitant will now become clear and resolute. This is more than natural improvement. It is your alignment with the spiritual current I am releasing. You will no longer labor from strain, but from flow. No longer exhausted from forcing each small step forward, but moving in the rhythm of the anointing. Remember when the disciples cast their nets at my word and the catch was so abundant they could scarcely draw it in, not because they suddenly became more skilled, but because they aligned themselves with the current I directed. In the same way, you will see your work shift into favor when you stand in the place I appoint for you. Beloved, guard your peace and remain focused. Do not fear refinement. Do not question elevation. I am rearranging the environment around you to correspond with the portion you are stepping into. You do not need to wrestle every detail into existence. Stand where I position you. Remain faithful, and allow me to accomplish what you cannot manufacture. When I establish you in your rightful place, everything will begin to operate according to the order I have set, and you will realize you are no longer working under pressure, but within the current of grace. Listen carefully. Your professional breakthrough does not begin merely with an open door, but with how you see yourself under the light I cast upon you. If you carry the image of the former season of missteps, stalled projects, and words that unsettled you, you will enter new opportunities with an outdated posture. But I am renewing your perception. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You are no longer defined by temporary setbacks. You do not live under the shadow of what was. In the previous season, you exerted effort to prove you were trustworthy, capable, worthy of responsibility. You presented, explained, worked harder to be noticed. But this season differs. You do not enter as one asking permission. You enter as one entrusted. The distinction is not in louder speech or stronger gestures. It rests within your foundation. When I position you, your presence itself carries weight. Atmospheres shift when you arrive. Words spoken from you will hold substance. Actions taken by you will generate broader outcomes than you anticipate. Not because you surpass everyone around you, but because the anointing upon you magnifies what you bring. Recall Daniel in the court of Babylon. He did not rise from powerful lineage. Yet, when he spoke, kings listened. When he interpreted, the court acknowledged him. It was not intellect alone, but because the Spirit of the Holy God is in him, Daniel 5:14. So it is with you. The authority in your words is not rooted solely in experience, but in my presence accompanying you. Even if others cannot articulate it, they will sense it. You no longer require praise to affirm your value, nor must you fear criticism to question it. Your worth is anchored in the calling I have placed upon you, not in fluctuating human evaluation. Where feedback once unsettled you, you now stand secure. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. When you know you are entrusted, you do not tremble before temporary opinions. Keep your heart anchored in strong peace, for you are no longer in the stage of wondering whether opportunity will come. You are in a season of receiving. This does not mean passivity. It means you no longer need to strain to produce what I have already ordained. You do not need to measure yourself against others to secure your place. Each person has their portion, and what is yours cannot be taken. When I divided the promised land among the tribes of Israel, no one could seize another's inheritance unless I permitted it. In the same way, what I have reserved for you is safeguarded by my own hand. Do not fear being overshadowed or pushed aside. The light I have placed upon you is not borrowed. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. When I cause that light to shine, no one can extinguish it. There may be competition. There may be systems that appear obstructive, but what I have decreed does not depend on their agreement. Walk steadily, without haste, without wavering. As you move in this posture, you will discover that the change extends beyond your work. When your career shifts, your life will rise with it. Your thinking will expand. Relationships will be refined. Your rhythm of living will be recalibrated. You will no longer exist in constant tension, but in the quiet confidence of one who knows they are aligned with the right trajectory. I am not merely changing where you work, I am reshaping how you inhabit the world around you. So, beloved, step into this season with a renewed vision of yourself. Do not carry the labels of the former chapter. Do not allow the past to speak louder than my declaration. You are no longer required to prove. You are called to be present. You are no longer searching. You are following the light I set before you. And as you do, breakthrough will cease to be a distant concept. It will become lived reality, where your career transforms and your life is redefined by my grace. My child, stand upright and receive what I proclaim over you. This hour is not merely gentle encouragement, it is the decree of the one who seals, position, and establishes. I am commissioning you into a new level of career and influence. You are no longer hoping someday to be noticed. You are standing where heaven has determined you must be seen. I will also make you a light for the nations. Isaiah 49:6. When I establish a position, no one can diminish it. When I place someone in a sphere of influence, no system has authority to deny it. You do not enter this level because you pursued it through personal ambition. You step into it because it was written into the design I formed for you from the beginning. As I declared to Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. Your elevation is not random, it is the fulfillment of a process. From this moment forward, you will not merely hear about breakthrough, you will operate within it. You will not only encounter opportunity, you will become a catalyst for opportunity in the environments where you stand. I am shifting you from being shaped by circumstances to shaping them. Recognize that the vision over your career is expanding to a point where you cannot return to former patterns of thought. Boundaries that once made you feel small are falling away. I am elevating the standard within your mind. I am enlarging your desire beyond the confinement of fear. I am magnifying your perspective so you can see far beyond your present surroundings. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18. I am granting you new vision. And once you behold through that light, you will no longer consent to lesser levels. Your profession is no longer merely a means of income or stability. It becomes a spiritual assignment, a space entrusted to you to carry light, strategy, wisdom, and vitality from heaven into the systems you touch. Remember Joseph when he entered Egypt's palace. He did not merely oversee storehouses, he preserved entire regions from famine. His work became an instrument in a larger plan. So it will be with you. Every project you engage, every meeting you attend, every decision you render can become a channel through which my purposes flow. From this day forward, you will not feel diminished in large conference rooms or among those with impressive titles. You will perceive that you are sent as one who carries atmosphere, not in arrogance, but in clarity of identity. When I was with Moses, he did not need volume to command attention. My presence upon him caused Pharaoh to listen. You likewise need no display to validate worth. When you speak aligned with me, your words carry substance. I am lifting you into the realm of those who shape rather than merely respond. This requires humility anchored in strength. When I elevate you, do not allow fear to pull you down, nor pride to distort your path. Recall Daniel in Babylon's court. He maintained conviction without losing gentleness. He stood firm without arrogance. I call you into that same rhythm, a confidence born from identity, not title. This commissioning is not distant promise, it is present unfolding. You will sense the shift in your thinking, in your reactions, in how you perceive opportunity. You will no longer ask, am I sufficient? But rather, how shall this be shaped? That question signals entry into a new plane. Stand upright within this entrustment. Do not revert to former mindsets. Do not diminish the vision I have enlarged. You are not raised for display, but to reflect my glory. As you walk in this awareness, breakthrough will cease to be a phase. It will become your rhythm. I have positioned you I have sealed it. From here you operate as one established, not to survive within systems, but to carry heaven's influence into them. Beloved, understand that what is increasing in your life is not merely position or role, it is presence. This is not fleeting confidence stirred by emotion, it is divine positioning. I am placing spiritual weight upon your words, your decisions, your ideas. When you speak, authority accompanies sound. Others may not articulate why they trust you, yet they will. They may not explain why responsibility flows toward you, yet it will, not because you have hurried to prove yourself, but because I testify on your behalf. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. When I stand behind a person, the atmosphere itself adjusts to make way. You will discern that shift with clarity in the new environment. Matters that once demanded relentless striving will begin to align without strain. Individuals who were rigid will soften without understanding why. Processes that stalled will accelerate. Barriers that appeared immovable will show fracture lines when my authority rests upon you. As when I positioned Joseph before Pharaoh and a single interpretation reordered an empire, so your presence will initiate movement where stagnation once prevailed. Yet prepare yourself. I am bringing you into spaces where former thinking cannot function. A new tier requires renewed perception. Old mental frameworks cannot accompany you into expanded territory. I am elevating how you analyze complexity, how you interpret context, how you render decisions. You will no longer decide from fear of error, but from discernment imparted. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. James, Fem. I am releasing that wisdom over you. You are not confined to narrow experience. You will operate within illuminated vision. You will not wait for external validation to proceed. When I open, you enter. When I indicate, you advance. I am shaping you into a pace-setter within your sphere, the one who proposes solutions before problems fully surface, who perceives opportunity embedded within adversity, who discerns precisely when to act and when to remain still. This is not merely intellectual aptitude, it is anointing, expanding your capacity beyond conventional limits. As I filled Bezalel with skill, intelligence, and craftsmanship to construct the tabernacle, Exodus 31:3. So, I am equipping you with creativity and strategy aligned to your assignment. Understand that the elevation I grant is not a simple rung higher within a hierarchy. It is territorial expansion of influence. I am positioning your name within conversations you have not yet entered. I am carrying your ideas to the ears that must hear them at the appointed moment. I am bringing you into visibility before those who steward resources, initiatives, and authority. When you step into those rooms, you will carry atmosphere, certainty without arrogance, depth without display, not through self-assertion, but through my positioning upon you. You will notice precision sharpening in your speech, intentionality clarifying in your movement, accuracy emerging in your judgments beyond natural calculation. This is spiritual upgrading. When I elevate, I do not alter externals alone. I recalibrate internal operation. I deposit a steady confidence, quiet, grounded, immovable. The righteous is like a tree planted by streams of water, Psalm 1-3. You will not sway under pressure or opposing opinion. Therefore, do not revert to obsolete paradigms while I am opening new pathways. Do not question the shift once command has been issued. You are entering a phase where environment no longer defines you. You define environment, not by personal force, but by my presence accompanying you. When I position, necessary variables begin aligning to serve purpose. Your responsibility is steadfastness and fidelity. I will execute the remainder. My beloved, this is the hour you must clearly recognize the transition I am enacting over your life. You are no longer positioned behind the scenes to amplify another's light. I am bringing you forward into illumination, long reserved for you. You will not merely receive direction and execute it. You will chart direction. You will not wait to be mentioned last. You are summoned to enter first. This is not a routine shift within workplace structure. It is a role transfer embedded in destiny. I am strengthening your voice so that when you speak, attention follows. I am expanding your cognition so you perceive what others have yet to discern. I am enlarging your stature so you can engage arenas you once assumed were reserved for someone else. This is commissioning within vocation, an establishment that does not originate from human approval and cannot be revoked by human resistance. When I place my hand upon someone, that designation penetrates to the roots. I do not simply alter placement. I recalibrate operational essence. I refine quality before elevating position. I fortify interior substance before entrusting authority. You have traversed that formation, years of refinement, seasons of obscurity, pressures that felt like delay. Yet those intervals were preparation for altitude. As David was anointed privately before ascending the throne, so you were readied before being revealed. When you enter this higher tier, you will not be overwhelmed. You will feel aligned. Not from arrogance, but because your inner capacity has been activated to match the assignment. The Lord does not see as man sees. 1 Samuel 16:7. I have always seen what I embedded within you, and now I am drawing it into visibility. The new environment will carry a strange familiarity, as though it has awaited your arrival. Lift your head and prepare for expansion. This season is not a single doorway. It is a corridor of opportunity. Not merely a corridor, but an entire level of influence. You will stand in rooms within domains you once deemed beyond reach. Yet you will not feel misplaced. You will operate as one native to that atmosphere. You were designed to occupy that space. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. Deuteronomy 28:13. This is not distant promise. It is active implementation. You will observe shifts in how others respond to you. Conversations will pivot when you contribute. Strategies will recalibrate around your proposals. Not because you dominate the room, but because I have imparted weight to your words. As wisdom rested upon Solomon and nations sought his counsel, so authority will accompany you within your sphere. Yet elevation demands disciplined humility. I do not raise you for display. I raise you for service at expanded scale. I do not merely open doors. I expand responsibility. You will lead not through pressure, but through steady presence. You will guide not by force, but by clarity. Understand this distinction. Influence without humility fractures. Influence anchored in humility stabilizes systems. I am forming you to stabilize. You will discern when to speak, and when silence carries greater authority. You will know when to assert and when to yield. Leadership at this tier is less about visibility and more about calibration, aligning people, timing, and direction toward purpose. Do not underestimate the gravity of this transition. It is structural, not cosmetic. It is ontological, not superficial. I am not decorating your resume. I am reconstructing your operational bandwidth. Capacity expands. Emotional steadiness strengthens. Strategic perception sharpens. What once intimidated you will become terrain you navigate with composure. As this unfolds, guard your interior life. Remain anchored. Remain teachable. Remain attentive to my guidance. The higher the vantage point, the clearer the perspective, but only if your vision remains aligned. Continue refining integrity as diligently as you refine competence. Authority sustains only where character is fortified. You are not entering a season of self-exaltation. You are entering a season of calibrated impact. The systems around you will adjust, not because you force them, but because your presence introduces order. You will discover that you no longer strive to prove worth. You operate from established worth. You no longer chase recognition. Recognition converges toward alignment. Stand steady in this commissioning. Accept the mantle without hesitation, yet carry it without pride. What I initiate, jesusstein. What I establish, I uphold. You are not stepping forward alone. You are stepping forward authorized. Beloved, this is not a vague aspiration. It is divine positioning. I have elevated your scope, amplified your voice, refined the lens through which you interpret the world. You are no longer constrained by obsolete structures. I am guiding you into the sphere for which you were designed. Walk with assurance that this platform is not self-constructed. It is established by me, and what I establish cannot be dismantled. You will not merely enter the light, you will radiate within it, because that was determined from the beginning. Yet hear this with precision. Elevation without alignment becomes liability. Influence without worship becomes distortion. Authority detached from intimacy becomes burden. Therefore, as you cross the threshold of commissioning, I do not permit you to advance without anchoring your heart in communion. Every ascent must be stabilized by surrender. Every expansion must remain tethered to reverence. Before you enter the rooms I have opened, before you articulate strategy within circles of influence, soften your interior posture. Do not move forward solely with the confidence of one empowered, but with the composure of one sustained. Let humility and clarity coexist within you. Let strength be wrapped in dependence. The higher you rise, the deeper your roots must grow. Now, open your spirit fully and offer me the most honest voice within you, without performance, without inherited phrasing, without borrowed intensity. Let prayer be directional calibration. Let it realign intention with origin. In communion, altitude becomes sustainable. O Almighty God, architect of order and author of purpose, I approach you not as one celebrating personal advancement, but as one aware that every forward motion originates in your design. Guard my heart as influence increases. Preserve tenderness amid recognition. Stabilize integrity under pressure. When I step into roles of leadership, remind me that I am first led by you. Impart to my speech wisdom not manufactured by experience alone, but infused by your Spirit. Let my counsel produce clarity rather than confusion, order rather than chaos. As it is written, the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits. James 3:17. May that wisdom govern every strategic decision and every unseen motivation. Refine my intentions as visibility expands. Prevent ambition from contaminating assignment. Shield me from subtle pride when outcomes accelerate. Guard me from insecurity when resistance surfaces. As Daniel stood within imperial power without surrendering identity, anchor me, likewise, firm in conviction, steady in humility, conscious of whom I represent. Merciful Father, grant discernment sharp enough to distinguish authentic opportunity from distraction. In seasons of abundance, protect me from diffusion of focus. Where invitations multiply, teach me alignment over impulse. Let me carry atmosphere into every environment, calm where tension resides, structure where disorder prevails. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Establish that directive as the operating principle beneath my reasoning. Sustain endurance equal to expansion. Allow creativity to flow without destabilizing humility. Let vision enlarge without detaching from obedience. Equip me not only to initiate effectively, but to steward faithfully over time. And now, Father of alignment, I give thanks. I thank you that this elevation is not fragile. I thank you that what you initiate, You maintain. I thank you that responsibility arrives proportionate to grace. You have not positioned me prematurely. You have not accelerated me without preparation. Every prior season, every delay, every refinement, every obscurity formed structural capacity for this moment. I acknowledge that the platform is entrusted, not possessed. The influence is stewarded, not owned. The authority is delegated, not inherent. Keep me conscious of that distinction. Let reverence remain stronger than recognition. Let obedience remain louder than applause. As I advance, let my presence reflect yours. Let my decisions echo your order. Let my leadership generate stability rather than dependency. May those I influence encounter not merely competence, but character shaped by you. Seal this transition with clarity. Anchor it with peace. Sustain it with grace. And as I walk within what you have established, let breakthrough become disciplined, rhythm, structured, intentional, aligned so that success never outpaces surrender. O God of all grace, I also lift to you a prayer concerning the alliances you are establishing around me. Let those who step into this journey alongside me be people of integrity, disciplined standards, and upright hearts. Remove from my path any association that would dissipate focus, fragment energy, or redirect me from your assignment. May every encounter serve intention within your design, as Esther was positioned precisely in her hour for a purpose greater than herself. Grant me clarity to recognize timing and responsibility within the larger architecture of your plan. When authority is entrusted to me, guard me from using it to dominate. Teach me to steward it, to build, to restore, to order. Let me never confuse visibility with impact. True influence is not measured by how widely I am seen, but by how faithfully life and stability flow through what I touch. And now, within these petitions, gratitude rises with equal force. Faithful Father, I thank you that no prior season was wasted. What appeared small was structural. What felt hidden was formative. Those quiet tests refined endurance for this elevation. As it is written, for it is God who works in you both to will and to act according to his good purpose. Philippians 2:13. I acknowledge that both aspiration and capacity originate in you. You did not allow premature success to outpace maturity. You preserved my future by pacing my advancement. For that restraint, I give thanks. Shepherd of my life, I also thank you that the expansion unfolding is not confined to professional terrain, it is occurring within my character. You have heightened my standards of thought. You have ignited broader vision. You have anointed natural ability with uncommon flow. So, what once required strain now carries rhythm. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, Jeremiah 17:7. In that trust, I remain steady amid acceleration. The light you place upon me is not ornamental, it is directional. You have shifted me from obscurity to visibility at the precise hour, and I recognize the deliberateness of that timing. Yet, above all, I remember this: the greatest elevation is intimacy with you. Titles fluctuate, platforms evolve, influence expands and contracts, but proximity to the source sustains all else. If I ascend without losing alignment, influence becomes blessing rather than burden. Preserve within me healthy dependence. When success multiplies, incline me to kneel. When doors open, incline me to thank. When my voice is heard, teach me first to listen for yours. As Solomon requested wisdom over wealth to govern well, so let my priority be alignment over applause, discernment over display. Now rise with composure anchored in certainty. The peace granted to you is not circumstantial, it is positional. You stand where my hand has placed you. This season of expansion is not merely external adjustment. It is internal maturation manifesting outwardly. You no longer advance as one searching for affirmation. You advance as one commissioned. The future does not intimidate you because it is not undefined, it is supervised. Walk forward with disciplined calm. You are not improvising your destiny. You are executing it. You are not striving for foothold. You are standing within established ground. And in every step, I remain present, guarding trajectory, directing timing, completing what was initiated within you until its fulfillment is structurally complete. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this: you are not merely an audience. You are chosen to live daily in the presence of the Word of God. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you will not miss any spiritual message. Amen.